There's something magical about the fire. We can come to the fire. I guess the fire agrees. We can come to the fire and we can I've just been mesmerized by it. Yeah, I recently heard that they've done studies that show that just looking at the fire activates stem cell production in the human body. Wild. Never would have thought about that. And it's interesting because there's the physical fire, which consumes, burns wood or whatever, and creates warmth, light. And then there's this spiritual fire, the fire of our consciousness, the fire, the fire of creation, which does not consume. It's the fire of alchemy, the fire of transmutation, the fire that helps us to grow and evolve. And that is the fire that I want to talk about today. Because healing addiction is shifting from the physical fire, that which consumes, that which burns, that which leaves you with ashes, and is the evolution into the alchemical fire, the spiritual fire, the calling forth of the higher aspects that transforms us as the ancient alchemists would strive for, which is the transmutation of lead into gold, of base material into refined material. And we see that in all processes of evolution, of growth, of whether we're talking about spiritual growth, personal growth, self-growth, development, business growth, whatever it is, there's a process of alchemy there, where we take ourselves as a lesser, a more crude version, and then we elevate, we upgrade. And in the process, we change, we transform, but we're not consumed by it, we're not destroyed by it. The fire of consumption is when we burn ourselves, we burn our candle at both ends, when we overwork, we play hard, we work hard, we don't rest. And then we use substances, caffeine, nicotine, whatever it is, to keep the engine running even when we should be resting. Or perhaps it's the keeping that motor running at such high levels that we don't know how to shut it off, and then we reach out to alcohol and cannabis and other substances to help us to slow down, to calm down. And what do we end up with? We end up with less of ourselves. We end up with fatigue and cellular decay. But when we tap into different tools like meditation, unconscious reprogramming, hypnotherapy, goal setting, intention setting, we start to tap into that fire that transmutes, that transforms us into something greater. And it took me a long time to understand, to even have my awareness shift into being able to see this idea of alchemy. I think the book that first kind of struck it out, got it in my awareness, was actually The Alchemist, which is a phenomenal book. So I highly encourage you to read that. And it was a gift for me to be able to find that book. I guess it found me more than anything. And ever since then, I've been tapping into these tools. It reminds me of there's a scene in the book where the child is supposed to, or the young man is supposed to sit on the cliff's edge and speak to the wind in order to save his life. Otherwise, he's going to die. Like he's going to be killed by this tribe. I can't remember exactly what it is, and he has to sit there, and have a conversation with the wind, with an element, with something that science says has no capacity to speak. And he sits and he listens, and he speaks, and he listens. And in this process, he is able to stir the wind. He asks the wind to stir itself in such a way that it convinces all of those around that he's truly speaking to the wind, and then it saves his life. And it's not through smoking something. It's not through some crude act. It's not through manipulation of the physical environment. It's not through the drinking of something that he's able to save himself. It's by becoming still, by listening, by having an internal dialogue, by speaking to the elements. And this is the power of alchemy. It doesn't happen by smoking another thing. It doesn't happen by going through that process of consumption. It happens by slowing and stilling ourselves. There's this relationship that we humans have with the fire, which is a tremendous respect, a deep sense of awe, gratitude, and fear. Fire can destroy unlike really anything in nature. I guess all elements can certainly do it, but we depend on fire. We depend on it for warmth, for fuel, for so many, for the energy to transform, to create, to build, and also it can, in a moment, if it's not controlled, can destroy us. I remember listening to Rich Roll, great podcast and author and athlete, and he, self-proclaimed alcoholic. I don't label myself anything like that. That's a whole other topic, but he said, there's some of us, me included, that are just like, we've got so much energy, we've got so much power, we're just like a fire. But you give me a bottle of Jack Daniels and that fire is like a raging forest fire or a brush fire without control, without structure. It becomes incredibly dangerous and it can destroy so much. He said, but then through the structure of discipline and focus, I could take that same fire and instead of it being wild and destructive, it can be focused like being put into an engine, and then it can propel. It can go fast and focused. And I find my relationship with addiction has been very similar. It's like I have so much energy. I have so much mental energy. I can think so quickly. Ideas and thoughts come to me so fast. And sometimes I don't know what to do with it. I don't have the structure to put it in. I don't have the direction, or maybe I'm in a phase where my practices, my commitments, my disciplines, my structures are not so present. Or maybe I slip out of it, and then all that energy becomes destructive, and it's like I don't know what to do with it, and therefore I start to consume, and then like that fire of all of that energy consumes, and it can destroy. And then there's the times when I have my practice, my structure, my meditation, my workouts, my fitness, my commitments, my goals, my prioritization. my accountability, and then boom, I can accomplish so much, and I thrive, and that lead then gets converted into gold. Something relatively valueless gets transformed into something of tremendous potential, of tremendous worth. And so that's a big part of this journey in addiction, is how do we take that fire, whatever that is, the air, the mental energy, that capacity for thought, potentially out of control, the passion, that fire in the belly, and instead of trying to just fuel that fire with sex and drugs and spending and working, we channel it through discipline, through focus, through collaboration, through, it could be any variety of things. We can take that energy and step into this higher level, shifting from consumption to transformation. That's why I love the image of the mythology of the phoenix. The phoenix, this powerful mythical bird, periodically sets itself on fire, destroys itself, burns itself down to ashes, but then it is reborn, once again renewed from the ashes. But it has to die. And I know that's a big thing. I mean, I've helped out so many people, and I'm helping more people right now. I've got a lot of clients coming in that are looking to quit cannabis and cigarettes and vaping and all these other things, because these addictions have been consuming them. It's the fire that consumes. It's the craving, misplaced energy, passion not channeled properly, whatever it is. But the biggest part, how it really works, how I can help them to quit these things in an hour, is that they re-identify themselves. They die as the smoker, and they're reborn as the non-smoker. And it's funny because they ask me, they're like, what's the hardest part of the process? I said, the hardest part of the process is choosing to do the process. The process is incredibly easy. It's fantastically simple. There's really no great difficulty in it whatsoever. You just have to follow simple instructions with a guide, me, guiding you through your own mind, through your own mental processes. The challenge is making the commitment. The challenge is putting your money on the table. The challenge is choosing to confront your own death, the death of your identity, even though you know that, and maybe you don't fully gather it, but you will be reborn. But it's frightening. Death is a challenging prospect. But it is through death that we can grow. You know, the seed or the acorn shatters its world to become the oak tree. The caterpillar melts itself in a cocoon to become the butterfly or the moth. Destruction is inherent. But when we can shift from destruction for the sake of destruction, the consumption, the falling apart, and we can shift that to destruction for the sake of rebuilding, knocking down an old building so we can build something better, that's different. That's powerful. That's transformative. I really do believe that so many of us that have dealt with addiction are really powerful beings, incredibly resilient, we're like almost indestructible to a certain degree. So much so that we often challenge it with more and more levels of drugs and consumption. It's the self-destruction, when it's not fueled and channeled properly is crazy. But I mean, addicts are really resilient. People that deal with addiction are incredibly sensitive, emotionally sensitive, energetically sensitive. Just like the idea that people in psych wards are actually the most magical beings. They just, no one's taught them how to use their magic properly. Addicts are really powerful thinkers, really powerful creators, really powerful, passionate people. They just haven't been given the tools on how to channel that properly. They've been riddled with programs that no longer serve, programs that they got inherited from their past generations, from the different aspects of their family, and it doesn't work. But we're here to break free. We're here to break our families free. We're here to be the ones that break the cycle. So I really believe that the role of the addict, and I don't like labeling someone as an addict, but let's say the archetype of the addict is incredibly important in evolution, because that's the person who is suffering from the world that doesn't work properly, whose tools are outdated. And we're here to show that system is broken, and then also to usher in a new system. But we can't do that if we're still setting ourselves on fire. We can't do that if we're like that wild brush fire in the field. No control, no structure, no discipline. And I've had plenty of challenges with discipline myself. And that's why I do the work that I do now, is to help other people with the accountability, the discipline, the tools to make it easier than we've been shown, so that we can recapture and awaken, like destroy the old identity, create the new identity, and awaken the gifts and the powers that we have that are ready to be unleashed in the world to help this world evolve and become better. And the process of transforming from consumption to alchemy it wasn't pretty for me, but it's also incredibly beautiful. And because of all the mistakes that I've made, it gets to be so much easier for all of you, because you can learn from my lessons, my mistakes, and take the shortcuts, because I didn't. In many ways, I didn't. Not until recently. So I offer to this fire this gift of copal, this sacred tree resin from my homelands of the Sonoran Desert, in gratitude on this day of Ten Achpu, the day of the sun, the community. And as we come together and celebrate our transformation, this next level of awakening, in gratitude, I make you this gift, this offering. May this sacred smoke cleanse this home, cleanse my body, and prepare me for what's to come. And may this gift to the fire help all of those who are ready to awaken to their highest level, to their next octave. Find me, or whoever it is that they are ready to work with, to be supported by, to be guided by and encouraged by, to help them to awaken their gifts faster than I could. May we all find our teachers, our guides, our support structure, our team, our community. May we all find the resources that we need at this time. For this is a great awakening. The awakening of something new inside of each and every one of us. The awakening of something new in society and culture. The awakening of something new on this planet. May we be conduits for new thinking. May we be conduits for new ideas, new technologies, new ways of being, new ways of relating, new ways of health and vitality. And may we understand that the alchemical path is the path forward, and the consumption path is the old way. Grateful for all of the gifts of this life, and even all of the pain that I have experienced, because every bit of it got me here to where I am right now. And with gratitude, I stoke this fire just a little longer, so that we can all continue our path of growing. And may I learn how to slow down. May I learn how to be more aware of my emotions. And may I learn how to nourish and nurture myself in ways that don't require the harming of my body and the destruction of the integrity of my system. I love this body so much. Please forgive me for all the times that I have harmed this body in the pursuit of the consumption energy. And thank you. Thank you for the fire that burns within me. Thank you for the fire that burns within me. Thank you for the fire that burns within me.